May 16th at 7 o'clock. And I will turn it over to Marla to go through the budget sheets, worksheets.
Oh, how fun. The first legal size piece of paper we have is the budget forecasting I did a few months ago. And over here on the side is what our actual valuation is as of April 1st. And so I was on target the first time. I'm sure as we get further away, I might get further away, but I was pretty close for the first year. And those numbers still could change as the county prepares to do the tax billing. We're going through all the listing documents now, but the closer we get in the June, the less it changes. And so I have in front of you a balanced budget in the general fund. I'll just give you a quick overview first. I propose to raise our trash fee from $25 to $26, which would be a 4% increase, mainly due to the cost of diesel fuel. And we actually got a email this past week from the Department of Emergency Management that not only do they expect diesel fuel prices to keep climbing, they expect a shortage, which is going to make it even worse. Supply and demand and all that. So in summary, it might be hard to get diesel fuel. When you find it, it's going to cost more. And then we also received a rate increase notice from Johnston County. They're going up on their water fee 6%, and they're also going up on the minimum fee that they charge us, which has been for many, many years has been $200 a month. They're going up to $400 a month, which makes that it translates into about 28 cents a customer per month. So I'm proposing to add that 28 cents to our minimum and then raise our water and sewer rates by 6%, which is what we did last year. The county went up 6% and we did too. Other than that, this document does have the payroll figures that are on the big paper that you have, and the second page in there is a breakdown of what department and fund they go to. And the third page is the resume of our fire chief, Adam Stanley. He is retiring in July and has an interest in serving as our planning and zoning and code enforcement person for a salary of $25,000. And we have been paying this past year the Triangle J $24,000 for that service. But he is more than qualified to do it. Probably qualified to do a whole lot more, but he's looking to slow down. But the cost of employing him instead of contracting with the Triangle J is now on the payroll summary sheet.
Would there be any benefits except payroll taxes?
No, because he'll be retired and he'll be limited to what he could work because he would be retired.
So what kind of rate per hour is?
You hurt my head.
We can come back to that.
It's not cheap, but he's very well qualified.
Yeah, so 25,000, is that 15 hours a week, or is there a number that?
And he can't work any more than 20 hours a week, and some hours he would also be working, doing some things for the fire department, but the fire department would pay him to do that. So he could work for us up to 20 hours a week.
So would it be up to 25,000, or is it just straight 25,000, and this week you might work 2 hours and next week you might work 20 hours? Is that kind of what
it was straight 25,000, which is the way we do the sewer. Our part-time sewer person, water and sewer person, he just gets a straight 18,000 a year, no matter what hours he works.
About $25 an hour. Okay, will you do code enforcement?
Yes. And one of the things we talked about is if he happened to be out doing something fire related and saw a code thing, he could be working for both at the same time, so there would be a lot of economic efficiency in that.
Okay, let's go through the whole budget before we add personnel.
So I'm going through and,
Roderick is not here because he's on his way to Charlotte again. But he's not a grandfather yet.
in the revenue section, the only rate change at this time is the additional $1 for trash pickup that I'm recommending. And the, any other increases in revenue are because of natural growth, whether it's, increase in, property tax value or increase in, utility franchise or, sales tax predictions based on the League of Municipality memo that I sent out about a month ago. Everybody get it? I know y'all read every page of it. But, if you recall, it said that some of the sales tax months are running about 16% over what they predicted they would run this year. And we actually had one month that was 24% over, but then we had another one that was only 2% over. So, I estimate we'll be about 12% over applying, what they recommended in the memo for this year. And then, it was a slight increase for next year, and I went with their slight increase. Then we, let's see. And our rent of the community building is up. I don't know what Lee did, but, people have wanted to use it twice as much, or 3 times as much, almost this year, as they did last year.
So what is our actually $14.95 as of what date?
Hold on. I lost it. $14.95 was last year's actual. It's $4,540 as of today,
Okay.
and it's rented every weekend in June.
Okay, so it could be a very good idea that we keep that building occupied till we get the other building going up.
Are we having any problems with people leaving it in disrepair or having to fix anything? Is it, we haven't spent any money or?
In the 4 years that I've been here, we have kept 2 deposits.
Okay.
So I think, and most of the ones that do rent again are regulars.
Mhm.
I had one family in general that rented 4 months back to back for each function because it's hard to find somewhere at the cost of hours and to have it all day versus having to allot hours.
Mhm.
So, but of course, we know that all subject to change when the new one comes. But this is the busiest since I've been here that it's been. But normally, June, some of May, but most of June, November, December are normally the only months. But it has been hopping. But
Okay.
to answer that question, we've only kept 2 refunds
Mhm.
that we could have returned.
Mhm.
And when we get to the expenditures, I just threw a blanket 5% on everything, but then went through and specifically put in the new payroll numbers, new loan payment numbers, and a few other specific numbers that I knew exactly what they were without having to do a lot of analysis. So for the time being, to balance the budget, I'm proposing to appropriate $82,945 from fund balance. Now, I know that sounds awful, but we had over $100,000 added to fund balance last year, and we're right at another $100,000 this year added to it.
So we're dipping into fund balance, not adding to fund balance.
Right. That's what-
I interpreted it to dip the other way around.
Now, I said appropriate.
So, Is there a reason why we're having to do?
Only because we haven't been through every department. I just increased everything 5%. So some things may go down, some things may stay at 5%. We just haven't been through line by line in every department yet.
Okay.
What I'm generally saying, that's not a good trend to continue.
Oh, no, and it's not something I intend to be in the final budget, but just, that's just where we are today.
Just a preliminary to budget to balance everything.
Let me ask one thing on the ad valorem tax. Where you're requesting 555,000, 480, and last year's budget was 465,000. And so has our, let's look at the chart that you did for us. Okay.
That's all natural growth.
Okay. All right, that answers, does everybody understand? That we had 91,000 in new real estate values added?
Oh, like 5 million.
Well,
Our
but I
tax
mean,
base increased by 5 million.
but our
Which
revenue
increased our revenue
increased.
by about 30,000.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right. Continue. Or any questions?
Hold on a second. Can you go get this book? No, can you go get those books? There's 10 books. The hardback 10 books. I left on your desk.
I can go get it. I'll
You
go.
know, do you
I'll
want
go.
one?
I think I do. If not, I'll look.
I think it would be, if you look at this sheet right here, with the green
Sheet.
line across the
Sheet.
top. We still have, we have 3 loans in the general fund.
Got any tornado issues going on?
Is that 21? What?
I saw one earlier. Just-
I haven't got anything from,
We had Joco Alerts that had gone off.
yeah, they hadn't sent anything.
Okay.
So we have a, loan with KS Bank for our garbage truck and our initial purchase of trash cans and recycling bins. That'll be paid off in 2029. We have our town hall refinancing that'll be paid off in, 2031. And, then we have a KS Bank loan for a Dodge police car. That'll be paid off in 2024. Those are the 3 loans that we have in the, general fund, and they're, in the administrative, police, and, streets and garbage, departments. And what I had, Lego get is this book represents a bond that the town took out in 1988 for $492,000 to build the wastewater treatment plant. In 2002, we refunded this $413,000 of this $492,000 bond at a lower interest rate and to pay it off sooner. And last week, the mayor signed the check to pay this sucker off. So that's what the green line is at the top. This bond that started in 1998, we refinanced in 2002, it's been paid on for 20 years, and we paid off last week.
Let me give a little more to that. The 1988 loan,
It was 8.75%.
8.75%. And So in 2002, we requested RFP from First Citizens Bank, KS Bank, and BB&T. BB&T went to their government affairs office, and KS Bank did not have a interest in it. Mr. Frank Holding Sr. called me, and he said, First Citizens cannot do the loan, but is it okay if Southern Bank did? I said, Mr. Holding, all we want is a proposal. If you want to farm it off to Southern Bank, which the Holding family has interest in Southern Bank. And so it came back at Southern Bank at 2.8 something.
4.85,
4.85.
which was almost half of what it was.
And so I called Mr. Holden back and told him that the Southern Bank had won, and he says, well, how many points were we cheaper than BB&T? I said, a half point. I said, I could have got another 25 points. I said, Mr. Holden, thank you, Mr. Holden. But that was just Mr. Holding. He liked to help small towns. But anyway, this is congratulations, because this was a big deal to pay loans off quicker. Okay, carry on.
How much was that last check?
It was, $19,000 some dollars. They had overcharges on interest, during the transition period and the way they were, managing our loan. And I had pointed it out to them, and they adjusted it, and where it got adjusted to was our last payment. And, when I called to get the last payment, our current loan officer said, I've never had anybody pay off a loan and their payment was less than what their last principal payment was supposed to be. And I explained to him why. He said, oh, that makes sense, and I can see it now. But, because I was asking him how many days we had to send it. He said, since have gone into the negative on your principal, it doesn't matter, how many days it takes to get here, but we went ahead and sent it. So we could say it was done.
Yeah.
But don't get too excited. Within a year or so, you're gonna be replacing that bond with another one. And so we do have, two other bonds. One was an additional amount of money to do the USDA project in 2010. And then we have some lease purchase financing, for some sewer upgrade work, the Holtz Pond lift station that we financed ourselves instead of going to USDA, and then the fire flow upgrade project. And the main thing I want to talk to you about, and the reason I made the proposals on the water and sewer rates, is this document from Johnston County where they highlighted how they were, what they were going, or where they were going to increase rates this year. And it shows on here where
Where is,
it's got yellow on it.
is it,
No. Front
That's
page.
it.
Front, flip it over.
okay.
So the rate's gonna go from 302 per thousand gallons to 320, which is a 6% increase. And then, our minimum fee that they charge us every month is gonna go from $200 to $400. So the next page is what the rates would be if you were to increase them based on my suggestion. And the page behind that is what they currently are, so you can see what the differences would be. Around 4,000 is what our average customer uses, and so that would be adding about $5 to their bill every month. And a lot of people just use 5,000, but Well, every time we do our average, it's in the 3,800 range, but if you want to use 5,000, it would be a $6 increase per month. And that's with the increase in trash, the increase in the water minimum, and the increase in the water and sewer rates. And then following that is the updated, what the updated commercial rates would be compared to what they are now. And then on the last page, Lee helped me out by checking on what other folks' trash fees were, because we haven't looked at going up on ours in a really long time. And this is what she found. But again, I just feel like that we need the additional revenue to pay for that fuel increase, because it affects the garbage truck and the backhoe.
So these rates, yeah, so they could be going up for next year.
Right, this is their current
Yeah,
rate.
right.
Okay, town of Kenly does not do any recycling. And the Four Oaks does not do any recycling. And apparently by law, you don't have to. But I think it's a good idea.
But I still think that there is something going on somewhere. Because it's still the fact that we take our recycling and we have to pay for the load. But somebody's making money somewhere.
We don't have to pay to dump it, we just have to haul it.
Okay.
That's the advantage of recycling, is we don't have to pay that poundage fee like trash. So it's just get it there. Just the fuel and the labor, just to get it there.
Right. And sometimes it gets recycled,
Mm-hmm.
the way I understand it.
Sometimes, yeah.
But I don't understand how, you know, like, there's a law that says you can't put all these types of plastics in the landfill, but then if you can't recycle it and you can't put it in the landfill, what are you supposed to do with
No,
it?
no. It's out of here. I saw the other day, it said only about 7% of plastics that are marked recyclable get actually recycled.
Well, I feel good about the fact that we collect it separately and we deliver it to a place that has the ability to send it somewhere to get
Mhm.
recycled, whether they do or not.
Yeah.
We've done our part to get it there in a separate way.
And all the tonnage that goes in the blue bins doesn't get charged,
Right.
just like the green bins. Yeah.
So again, I didn't want to take you through every budget because we haven't been through every budget yet, except for to put in the loan and the payroll numbers. I did adjust your budget, but I'm open if you want to discuss getting a raise. Because I did a blanket 5%, so it automatically increased yours 5%. But I did roll it back to match up with what it's been in.
Daggone it.
You've been fired by it.
If you'll look on page 20, in the estimated column, it'll show you the difference between revenues and expenditures to date. And I haven't analyzed this to see what's still to be paid or anything like that, but that's what I was referring to. Right now, we have a surplus of $106,000. And then the water and sewer budget starts on page 21. And the most significant change there is, the proposed rate increases adds about $32,000 to water and sewer revenue.
So, when will we have some figures, on like the, treatment plant upgrades and stuff?
Expanding our capacity,
Mhm.
probably in the fall.
Okay. And so, and normally we would try to, whatever we're going to do, match up the, water and sewer to address the, payment. So if we got something, would we be forced to have to wait until we did next year's budget to, find whatever revenue that we needed to, cover any loans or whatever?
No, sir, because I've got $38,903 reserved for you to make a payment with.
Okay.
And also, and the departments in the, water and sewer fund are the same way. We haven't gone through them department by department and fine tuned the line, so that number is subject to go up.
And I'd like to be optimistic, Water, but I don't think all the services for the upgrades will be online by next July.
Well, I was
But I'd like
wondering,
to be optimistic that they would be.
so we still haven't gone out to bid for all the sewer plant upgrades that we've been working on for 5 years, have we?
No.
So-
Happen any day.
Is there, I mean, so now we're talking about expanding the sewer plant and doing, I mean, are we kind of being redundant? Like, is the stuff that's been talked about 5 years ago, is it, we're not gonna put in a new bar screen and then 2 years say, this is not sufficient for the bigger one, are we? Like, is that all kind of taken into account?
It hasn't been yet, but I think it should work out to where we can take it into account. Because, we still have to go through the bid process. We're expecting the bids to be high. We're gonna have to do either, work out some additional funding with the USDA or take something out. And during that process, we may know what's gonna happen with the treatment plant. So the plan is to keep our current treatment plant and put in a second plant somewhere. Then we want to kind of move forward with our plans there. But if it's looking like that plant might do something different in our process, we may be able to eliminate some of the elements that were gonna go in there. So it's just very fluid. And, but I don't think we're gonna get in a time crunch because material turnaround time is so slow. So I think once we get a bid and a contract and are ready to start, it's probably gonna be several weeks, if not months, before they can start because of materials. Is that changed at all?
No, I was just told today that ductile iron pipe is as much as 9 months out.
I guess my question is, like, if we were getting relatively close to putting this 5-year-old project out to bid, then are we still gonna put it out to bid knowing that there's gonna be another project up kind of right behind it that could conflict with those plans?
Well, we can modify it, is what I'm saying, so that there's not a conflict.
Okay.
But there's a lot of things in it that is actually line work, like the I&I stuff and the water line stuff.
Right.
And so I would rather go through with the bid as is and modify it out
Okay.
than literally start over.
Okay.
And it could give us 25% more capacity in the current plant because of the I&I issues.
Mhm.
So, and that would cut down on operation costs as well.
Mhm.
Plus give us more efficiency in the current plant. So So we might could add additional users with the new plant waiting for the other plant to be online.
How hard would it be, I mentioned it last meeting, but for us to, are the statistics easily findable where we could go back 12, 18 months and look at water vault compared to sewer process or treated? And then, of course, going forward, maybe keep a chart like that and then make notations of, rainfalls above a certain number.
We have some of that already. Are you still sending stuff, Lee, every month to Draper Aiden on the rainfall?
Yes. VDMRs and yeah. I am.
So I think we have 2 of those 3 pieces, and
Mhm.
adding in purchase water would all we'd have to do to, because we keep up with the rainfall and flows at the sewer plant already.
Right, okay. Yeah, I think that would give us some good data to look at.
But every waste treatment plant in the state has similar problems. And it's not,
I mean, look, the thing that concerns me is the one that they put a moratorium on us. And so, some of the time whenever it's, people looking to move into this area are looking to come now or shortly in the future, not several years away. And what I don't want to happen is for us to not be ready for the growth.
so both projects would help move in that direction. But upgrading the current plan and planning for a new plant.
Well, off the top of my, I don't know what Benson's situation is, but I think Selma, Smithfield, Pine Level, Micro possibly, are all on a moratorium with us. It's not the same moratorium, but they can't expand sewer right now either. I think Keeling has a little bit of capacity left, but I don't know that they have any projects coming in. And, I'm not sure what Clayton has.
Clayton is buying sewer from Wake County, from Raleigh. Benson is treating Four Oaks water, sewer with a contract from Johnston County, because Johnston County is required to treat Four Oaks. They're treating McGee's Crossroads in the area on I-40 for Johnston County. So at this point, Benson has limited additional capacity. However, Benson has requested to send their affluent water to the Cape Fear River, because they're buying their water from the Cape Fear River. If they do that, they no longer have to buy nitrogen credits, and basically they can expand their plant without this huge tax that the News River Basin has. Because they buy water from Cape Fear, and they would send their sewer to the Cape Fear, their affluent, not sewer, but affluent to the Cape Fear. Right now, they're in violation of the river streams, because they're emptying into Hannah Creek, which goes to Bentonville to the News River. But it's going to take probably 5 to 10 years to get all those permits in place. Their affluent would have to go to Irwin, which is 25 miles from Benson.
So,
Does that answer the
So-
question, or you?
doesn't answer whose question.
Everybody's out of capacity.
I was just acknowledging his concern, but letting him know that we're among many friends in this area that have the same problem. So growth isn't gonna go to Pine Level and not come to Princeton because of our current sewer capacity issues. And they need to be addressed as quickly as possible, don't get me wrong, but I think we're all in the same boat on about the same timetable.
How stringent a moratorium is, let's just say you had, a new house or a new business, not a development or a huge, like, is it no customers or is it no customers above certain levels?
They will not permit any new, collection lines. But after the moratorium was enacted, they approved,
Minecraft.
Pinecroft.
Mhm.
So it's on a case-by-case basis.
Okay.
And so like the, project that, Mr. Sumlin and Mr. Orman presented the other day,
Mhm.
In order to do it, they would have to run an 8-inch sewer line from their property under Pine to go to the Smith Street lift station. So that would have to be permitted.
So it could be done even with a moratorium,
Right.
they could still have. And so like somebody buys the Curly Mill property, wants to put a business there, it
Well,
could be
there's al-
done.
There's already a line there.
Because there's a line there, okay, gotcha.
Mhm. There's already a line and a tap.
Gotcha, okay, I get it.
Okay. I want to address something else, Lee. And I know that we have addressed it many, many, many times. But it still is a problem to me. $20,000 of our revenue in water and sewer comes from service charges, which is basically 3% of the budget. And I think we have tried to get classes at Johnston, Lee, Harnett Community Action of how to manage money. We've tried to educate consumers how to pay their bills responsibly. Do you have any solution how to help our consumers?
Well, the change should help, right? The changing of the dates we just talked about?
Fingers crossed. Yeah, yes, I'm hoping this will help. The biggest aspect is, from my standpoint, I can't say what it was previously, because I came in and cleaned up quite a bit of debt that seemed to have continuously rolled, with no rhyme or reason. But I feel like I have worked hard to gain a level of, to be able to communicate with certain consumers and being able to gain a little bit of trust of saying, look, call me, what's your situation? I don't want to be, $1,500 in the hole because you don't pay it. We want to work with you. So I have worked really hard to get to the point where we're at. I have not entered into a payment arrangement since last year. We've got one home here in town that is struggling month to month, and they have a new baby. He calls me, he corresponds with me, but I try my best not to let them get past 30 days. Well, I don't want them to go into the next month, but we're working on not letting them get more than 3 months behind, period, without a end result. I've since then, with Marla, we've found a couple of, even though the churches have benevolence funds, we've actually found a few other places that will help based on income-based situations. So I refer them out, and I think we're in better shape than what we were this time during COVID, because it's been a work in progress. But sometimes I just think they just don't. And then there's times that I think situations do affect it. But we're getting there. We are better shape than what we were.
And we tried really hard to say this due and payable upon receipt
Mhm.
late after the 15th. Please pay it by the 15th to avoid the late fee. And then if they get that $10 late fee, your order's said to be disconnected if it's not paid by the end of the month. Please get it in here so we don't have to charge you that fee.
And now that we push it to the end of the month, hoping we don't have that many late fees on the, you know, the $30 and disconnect. Because a lot of folks would need to wait till the end of the month.
But we have charged late fees in a lot of different combinations, a lot of different amounts in all the 24 years I've been here, and we've collected between $18,000 and $22,000 a year every year I've been here. No
Mhm.
matter how many customers we had, no matter what the due dates were, whatever policies we tried to do, the encouragement we tried to do, it's been about the same.
Well, I'm sure that, and especially Molly and the mayor, can remember that I first brought this up a long time ago, that we worked with the community college to do classes on financing. That we had books sent to the library that people could read, gave them the contact, and that we did so much and we saw so little results that I stopped bringing it up, cause we can only go so far,
And they've got to want to
Yeah.
help themselves. And I hope I'm not saying that because it's your same folks and it doesn't change.
But we've offered, if you get paid weekly, break us $10 or $15 a week, you know.
Oh, God, don't do that.
What? You end up, if you do it, you'll end up paying ahead.
Oh, yeah.
I've got people that are paying rent that way, and I got to keep a ledger on everybody. It's a nightmare.
You need to digitize your records.
Cause you could always go down on rent.
Yeah, right.
If you went down on rent, then that would have paid a water bill for it.
I think they're related. They're not paying their
You should-
rent, so they're not paying their water.
You should
bill.
include the water bill with rent.
Yeah, right.
Well, you know, that might be food for thought. But ultimately, they've got to want to do it and want to do better. But it's the same folks. I could pull late fees. I mean, the last 4 years, and they're the same folks. Nothing's changed. And the ones that I don't normally cut off, I will call them. You know, even though it's not in the book that we do a courtesy call, but those that I know that I've never seen before,
Or if they're new, like it's their first
Yeah.
or second bill.
I do try to reach out to them, and a lot of times that does help. But we do have more resources now, thanks to COVID, than we had before. So it's a lot easier that they don't get quite out of hand.
Okay. Enough
We're
of a
working
point.
on it.
Enough of a point. I mean, it is a revenue source, but it was not a revenue source I'd choose to.
But it's been consistent.
And so if you will look on page 29, the estimated excess funds looks a little high to me, but currently we're at 138. So I may have mistyped the number in that estimated column today when I was working on it, but the summary is both funds are in really good shape. Because our revenues have been good over the last couple of years in both funds. But I continue to budget conservatively.
Let's go back to the question that Water had, and the summary question Mike had. So what is water capacity fees? Are these a balance? What do we have in reserves that we could?
That's a question I will have to answer for you at the next meeting, because I didn't check the reserve balances. But in general, I can tell you that the money that comes in for capacity fees, we do put in a reserve fund. And we have quite a few sewer capacity fees in reserve because we haven't spent them on anything to date since we've been collecting them. And if you'll remember, the water capacity fees, we have been converting into water allocation with Johnston County.
Right.
and we'll need to do some of that in the coming year, but there's not a push like there has been in past, gonna go up. So you can wait till later on in the budget year. Usually you have to make a decision to do it by October. And now you can wait till later in the budget year and see how things are going, how much you need. Make a less rushed decision about how much to purchase.
So Michael, when we hook up a new residence or a new subdivision, we charge a capacity fee that goes into a reserve account. So when we have to upgrade our plant, we can tap into that money to pay for the upgrade. And we probably will. Okay. You did a summary, or is there anything else that needs to, you want to go by department, or we're not there yet?
I don't think we're there yet, but, I've been pulling all these, I did want to point out a couple of things